for there I am. Hello, everybody. We're on a roll for this entire day, and it has been fantastic. The conversations have been amazing. I have learned so much, not only about my guests, but what their topic that they covered with today. And I'm here to promise you that we are continuing that idea. And so I'm just here to let you know, I want to let you know my next guest, who I'd like to introduce to you, is the president and co-founder of American Guest USA. He is a recognized leader in corporate incentives and transformational events and meetings for worldwide clients. And with nearly 2 decades of industry experience, including 10 years providing outsourced concierge services to more than 65 hotel concierge desks, he actually brings together a robust network of relationships. A native New Yorker, I'm actually talking about John Williams, again, the president and co-founder of American Guest USA. And we're going to be talking to him just in a few minutes, and I know you're going to want to stick around. Hold on. Welcome back, everyone, to Hospitality Today Live, the special GMID edition. I'm Deborah Gardner, and I am here now with Mr. John Williams, better known as John.
John's in the house. Good afternoon. We're wearing our blue proudly all today on GMID.
We are bluing it out. We're bluing it out for GMID. I tell you, the idea of the blue, the color blue, is amazing when they show pictures around the world. I mean, they've got the Niagara Falls lit up in blue. They've got the Empire State Building lit up in blue. I mean, it's just really, really cool. The Eiffel Towers colors are blue. And really a good idea. So I think we're in it. I think we're part of that.
I think
no doubt.
Yes.
Well, I am so glad you're here. Happy GMID to you, sir. And let's have some fun talking about what you do best. First of all, I'm sure our viewers would love to know, how did you get started in this industry?
In a more of a, unfortunately, based on something that happened 20 years ago. We all remember, not fondly, but it was hard for all of us on 9/11. Sorry, chokes up for a second. When that day happened, I had a aha moment. I said, you know what? You got to do something that you love. You got to do it with the ones that you want to work with and people that you like. And so my father and I looked at each other and said, all right, let's do this. Let's do this together. And let's have some fun doing it. But it was also realized, you know what? It's not about the money. You got to like what you love. So we've been on a 20-year path, entrepreneurship, and never looked back. Certainly changes and whatnot. But that's really kind of how I got into it. Was 9/11 and said, you know what? Families first. That's what it's all about. Money's last, and like what you do.
So going through 9/11 and of course other recessions and SARS and other little, over 20 years of dealing with this. I'm just curious to your perspective when now this pandemic hit. John, why weren't we ready as an industry for this?
I think we weren't ready because everybody was so bullish and so driven by the bottom line and revenue and just more and more and more. And we all lost, and I think we're starting to gain it back now. We all lost perspective of what the priorities were in our lives and that balance. And I think that we were all focused on what systems we had and forgot about the people and that balance. We also forgot about how to do our services. It was just about get them in, next, and putting too many layers in the process and not having the right relationships. And I think that's how we lost our focus. I mean, if you look at it, some of these hotels, 3 stars were, in peak period, $700, but you didn't get anything more for that, or in restaurants or in hotels or in travel and flight, even airlines. Now today you can change without a fee, but before it was baggage and all these fees. So things, it's amazing how quickly that circle has changed back to, the favor of do it the right way.
Yeah, according to the Star Report, it's been 120 months straight that we have been living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, something hits us on the side ahead and we're like, whoa, what just hit us? Instead, what we should have been doing is being prepared. And I'm hoping that, this pandemic not only hit our industry like it usually does, but it impacted the world. So on a bigger scale like this, I bet we need to be more prepared, because this is not going to be the last pandemic that we're going to deal with.
It's not. And, if you want to say, it's also back to basics, what works, when the computer system goes down and when all these other relationships and all these other things that we're feeding business, whatever industry, wait a minute. How do we get business? How do we get opportunities? And how do we build? And that's what we have to go back to, is those basics. Because if you want to say in our industry, hospitality, we're all starting from scratch. It is a blank slate. Nobody has any business. And how do we build that again? And that's including staff, that's services, and identity of who we are and what services we're going to provide. Even in the hotels, I was reading something at Hilton. They're saying, well, maybe they don't bring back all the services and room services, instead of being 24/7, it's only 9 to 3 and different things. So it's affected everything.
It really has. It really has. And currently, I know you're leading a team of multinational and multilingual staff in delivering customized, hospitality programs, which I'm sure are being revised to today's way of doing business. The concierge quality levels and experiences around the globe as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
So what we're, and back to your point, that whole global part of how this has affected all of us, you've seen everybody who were really competitors and weren't working together. There's a nice camaraderie now going on that I'm seeing, which is one of the best benefits. So all those competitors, all those people, that's been happening. The other thing that I've been seeing is that there's going to be more opportunities out of this. As Winston Churchill said, that famous line, out of your worst, I forget the line, but your worst, the worst moment comes opportunities. And so we're seeing that in hospitality of saying, hey, how can we all work together differently? And how can we do that? As our team is doing, we've said, all right, how can we help our clients and how can we bridge that? Because half the people in hospitality or hotels became real estate agents. Well, who's going to help get those hotels? Who's going to help the restaurants? Who's going to help transportation and those experiences that people want today? Well, that's where a company like us comes in and facilitates and bridges that divide and says, we're here. While they've changed, we're still here and we know how to get it done. And we then know who to call upon.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. So this past year, what were some of the tools that you embraced to move this forward?
First, the phone. Honestly, it was get back to the phone and talk to people, because email, social media didn't do it. Emails didn't do it. It's get back to what I said before, basics. Talk to people on the phone. Just level with them. Hey, and ask them, I don't care about business. How are you? How's your family? How are you doing? How's business? And you had those, really just kind of gut checking moments and be like, yeah, I'm in this. And instead of just, speaking words, leading by example. So we created a program that said, hey, how can we help our industry? So we built a similar to what you've been doing here. We created a telecast for our industry of saying, here's things that we're seeing, here's the things we're doing, but not a webinar, not anything else. It was a telecast. And those are things we've been doing because there's been no business and there's nothing to book. But we said, we're going to take the tools and assets we have and use it like yourself.
Right. Wow. And I bet you've seen a lot of progress in the last year, because what's happened is you've had to adapt, you've had to, and I hate the word pivot, but you've changed, and now you've uncovered some new ways that you can assist your clients. And that is just so brilliant because you have to do that.
You have to.
And there's just no way around it. You can't be
Mhm.
sitting on the couch eating bonbons, watching soap operas.
Although I would have liked to have, I honestly, I didn't even take a week off during all this in the last year.
Was it?
I've stayed engaged. I've stayed and just trying to find that opportunity, find the people, and just keep working and working, because like all of us, if we're not engaged and we're not hearing, we don't know what that pulse is, we're not sure what to do. Well, I think I've got a good idea. I think you do, because I've been talking to everybody from Europe to Australia to Asia to South America, South Africa, and you realize we're kind of all coming into this and started coming out, and you're seeing things start to trickle. No, certainly we haven't broken the dam, but things are starting to trickle, and that's a good sign.
Right. And I'm all about, at least I let my audiences know, sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. And boy, did we slow down. So you got to keep that process and that pace too, because once you get caught up in the speed of things again, then we're back to what happened and we just won't be ready when things happen again. Okay. Well, now I'm wondering though, the transformation, which you have said to me before, and I quote, "It's all about the journey to the destination." What does that mean? And how do you transform your destination events and incentives?
It really starts with painting that picture and painting a story, and then helping that client take that vision and making it come and letting it come to life. So while some have that, champagne taste on a burger budget, others have that champagne taste with a champagne budget, be it, the 4 or 5 stars. And if it's less, that's okay too. And letting them have that wow moment with whatever that they have within their resources. And if it's 20 people or if it's 500 people right now, and certainly it's not 500 people. And that's creating these experiences that everybody wants today. Nobody wants that thing that everybody can find on Google or in a brochure or whatnot. They want something that's going to hit the 5 senses, and that's going to be the taste, the touch, the smell, the eat and the hear. And what can we do to enhance that? And it's not just a steak, and it's not just, a 5-star hotel or whatnot. What are those elements that you can do to make it memorable to either that destination or to, if it's a client and what's their industry, be it cosmetics or automotive or insurance, and be like, oh my gosh, you just did something I didn't know I could do. And that's what our company does. So we bring a concierge element to our programs. The answer is yes. And now how can I help you? That's the focus of what we do.
Oh, wow. I love that. I love the yes, now what we can do for you. Because the last thing a customer wants to hear is the word no. That's a dirty word.
Yes, it is.
But at least get them on your side and say, yes, but how can we help you?
Right.
Allows a deeper conversation. Instead of hearing no, and then you just go away. It's unacceptable, because today people have expectations. They're smarter than ever before. They're experienced more than ever. They're in tune more than ever. You're not going to get through this industry or this life, in fact, without really having your ducks in a row when dealing with others. And it's good that you're on top of that. That makes a huge difference.
In the industry, everybody's today, we all have a computer. So they're going to check you. And if you're not being honest and you're giving the information, they're going to say, no, you're not. So you really, truly have to be the curator of what you're doing and giving them something they can't find. And that's what we have to do. And each and every time, I like to say we're like a Michelin star chef. Every time it's a whole new meal and nobody's ever had it before, but it's going to be that high level.
Yeah, it is. And we just had Tamala on a few episodes ago on truth and accountability. And this is in line with that, because you have to be truthful with yourself, with your customers, with your staff, and you have to be accountable for everything, or it wasn't the truth, I guess. So
yeah. And they're going to call you out on it.
Right.
And they're going to, and it's going to fall flat on its face. It's going to be so apparent and illustrative, and you can't do that. So you have to be honest. And when you can't do something, say, you know what? And no is not an answer. It just says, not at this moment, or it's not currently available, whatever the verbiage you want to use. But also, and if you make a mistake, it's also all about how you recover from it. You know what? We all make mistakes. We don't have everything in control. So what can we do to recover from that and make it just look as though it never happened? We have to be magicians in that too. Yeah. That's hospitality.
It is. We wear a lot of hats, and we need to perform with all those hats, magic or not. It's It's what we do every day. And that's what makes it so exciting about the
Yes.
hospitality profession is every day is a different day. You
Mhm.
never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to experience, but I can guarantee you're going to learn something, whether it
You
is
are.
from your mistakes or your failures or successes, you're going to learn something.
Yep.
And I like that.
And the other part I like about it is, you know what, we've got relationships all over the world because of this industry.
Yeah,
And so we've got
yeah,
friends. It's not just clients, they're friends.
yeah.
And so when you're going to these different markets and these different places, we know who to call upon and just say, hey, you know what, I can go out, break bread and have a glass of wine or a beer or
Mhm.
whatever. And that's awesome. And we're, and in a day, I can start off talking to Europe and end my day, 13, 14 hours later, talking to Australia all in a
Right.
day in
Yeah.
hospitality. And our things are about putting smiles on faces and experiences. It's not life and death, and it's not surgery. These are things that are memories. That's only the people can take with you. So it's not something tangible. It's that intangible, oh my gosh, I just had. And that's the cool magic of hospitality.
Yeah, it really is. Now, there are some challenges and some concerns about the future, and I'm going to ask you about the
Sure.
next 12 months anyway. But one of them, and it has to do with staffing. Marriott just announced that they're going to actually have some AI for the front desk, so there won't be anybody there. You just just plug in.
Yep.
I believe technology is teaching us to do things ourselves. I mean, first of all, doing this at checking out at the grocery store. I feel like I work at the grocery store.
Yep.
Now,
The Amazon way.
yeah, now I'm the bagger, I'm the check person. I mean, it's just crazy. But now this is happening in our industry. AI is starting to take over. So what is that going to do with employees and staffing?
And that's exactly what I was speaking about before. What you're seeing Hilton and, like you said, others doing, or Hyatt, was one of the ones that started this even 10 years ago, starting with that check-in desk that was just with an iPad, no traditional front desk. And I personally am not a fan of it. I'm more of a fan of the service and in person and engagement. The whole side of it, though, is it's really coming back down to what we were speaking about before. It's economics. They have, the cost of running a hotel, the cost of the overhead and unions and all these other fees. They cannot continue to operate in that manner and hope to be successful and not just be in the red. They need to get back into the black, and it can't be just finally in the month of December. So they've looked at different ways. I hope that those 5-star properties, be it the Ritzes, the Montage, the Four Seasons, and the Mandarin Orientals, balance that with service and what the client wants. And maybe it says, hey, would you like to have a checking list option, or would you like to meet with, would you like to have that person? Maybe that would be better. I mean, personally, that's what I would like. I want to talk to somebody. I don't want to talk over text or email or AI thing. It's not, I find it very cold, and I don't find that hospitality. But I understand why it's going that way. And maybe to those, as they call them, those lower service properties, or those, like a Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn Express, it fits there, because that model doesn't permit them, because the cost of labor is so high and the cost of all these other elements. They've got to find, a give or take somewhere. Even housekeeping, you're going to start to see that they're not going to offer housekeeping every day. It's going to be every 3 days. And if you want it, you're going to have to pay more for it. Even though it was something assumed before or expected, it's going to be something you have to pay for, I think, down the line.
Yeah, it's definitely going to change in that arena for sure. The only thing that, with AI coming in, there's going to be things that it's good for, but then there's going to be things that it's not good for. And the concern that I had when I saw the fact that AI is going to be at the front desk for hotels is sex trafficking.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
How are they going to work around sex trafficking when they're already going around when humans are behind the front desk?
That's right. You're 100% right. And there's an obligation, we're as humans, and to look out for one another. And even it takes sex trafficking. Also, it's just security. Hey, I'm in a hotel. There's certain, that's why I like hotels versus the other ways that some people are doing, renting homes and things, because there's that inherent security of the cameras and people and somebody in front desk. Yeah. If that's gone, well, I don't feel safe there anymore. That's not me. And also, somebody's going to crack the phone that's now our mobile option to get in. So there's got to be this balance. So like I said, if they gave that option checking in, I'm okay with that, for if you don't want that, you want to go, but you still need those eyes and ears. We need them, because it's never, ever going to replace what we inherently just know, like something's not right. You see a girl with a guy, and wait a minute, and AI is never going to figure that out.
Yeah, and it's such a tug of war to me because the hospitality industry is all about, like you said, face-to-face human connection, but yet we're allowing technology to replace humans. I struggle with that, but yet I want to know the purpose behind it and how it's going to help, not hinder. And so far with, the sex trafficking thing is the first thing that came to my head going, wait a minute. So what is the answer to that? And I'm sure they have one. It's like, just introduce the solutions as quickly as you can, because if not, it's going to cause a lot of problems.
I think one of the things they'll do in many of these properties when permitted and however and as long as it's affordable is facial recognition. That's gonna be, and I understand that's going to be coming to the airlines. I've seen some of the airlines are doing it already. So now it's in the airlines, you check, you're not even going to need your license anymore. It's just your face. So that'll come to the hotels. So if they know somebody's missing or something's not right, then, that'll be there. But still, it's that human element, because even if it works, who's going to be there to stop it or to help that situation? Who does that girl hand that napkin to?
Exactly.
A computer. It doesn't work. So so there's that balance.
It's going to be interesting. And if they're going to facial recognition, I need a lot more facials or Botox or something.
I need some hair
to look good on those things. So
yes.
Who knows? Well, okay. So that is wonderful, wonderful information. Now, we know it's GMID Day 21. What does GMID mean to American Guest?
Mm-hmm. It means our livelihood, honestly. It means our industry. It means all the people that we have and that we've worked with and want to work with. And it's the survival of our livelihoods. And this is, honestly, it's putting that attention back to meetings, events, incentives, or congresses, or, conferences, whatever words you want to use, and helping and bringing attention specifically today and this year in this situation. We're saying, hey, we're a cog in this entire world. People want to travel. People need to travel. And we're that element. But hey, by the way, we need your help right now to get back there. And that's putting heads in beds, butts in seats, as they say on the airlines, and into the restaurants. And the more we do that, the more this thing's going to get back going again, so that we all can then provide those services back. But from the housekeeping to the chef in the restaurants, or the cooks, and to the bellman, the doorman, and the concierge, and all these people in sales and marketing, we need to get this thing going. And you saw a little bit of that last year with leisure in the summertime, but because of COVID, everybody was doing that RV and going to the parks. This year, I think you're going to see it that kind of dissipate, especially with the vaccine being rolled out and getting back. But to me, Global Meetings Industry Day is getting and seeing people again. And this whole virtual thing, while it's great and it's a nice tool, it's not going to replace, back to the AI idea. We have got to be in person, because there's conversations and things, and those little things, intricacies, and those little moments of looking a person's eye and getting to shake hand and just rub shoulders when it's permitted again, that can't be replaced. And so that's what it means to me, is getting back to what we, and in anything, social aspects, we need it as humans. It fills our heart with and puts smiles on our faces.
Yes, it sure does. My husband says I'm in a kissy huggy industry. And he's right, because and I miss it. I crave it. And I know it's hard to reach through virtual. But again, we didn't know we were going to be in this kind of place. But I hope we're going to be more prepared the next time something like this happens, because maybe I should be cloning myself 10 times over just to get out to see everybody. So what is your vision for the next 12 months?
I think obviously we're in a as I said, we're trickling back. I think this summer will, from a leisure perspective, will be a very strong leisure summer. It's not going to be fantastic because there's only capacity. There's going to be capacity issues with the airlines and hotels. They're not even opening some of them until June or July or August in certain markets. And then restaurants, and also who's got the vaccination stuff. So I think we're going to see this continue, just keep going and going. And as long as things don't go off too much, and if things are okay in Hawaii or in Florida or in Europe or whatnot, we also have to watch different the different changes, variants, as they say. I think in 2 years we'll be back to about 75% of normal, and then in 3, back, and hopefully even better. But we can't just say, all right, we're open again, like a restaurant. It takes time to get this machine going again. And that's even in, like I said, the hotels, the restaurants, all of it feeds, and that's the purveyors, that's the transportation, all these things, the activities. They can't even do things. I did a request for somebody the other day for a big event, and they're like, we're not even looking at anything until January 2022, because we don't have enough base business to justify bringing people back yet. And I was like, and it was for a wedding. I'm like, All right, I understand. So it's going to be a continued long haul, but keep our heads focused. And you know what? Keep honest with ourselves. How can we help each other? That's really the thing for me. How do we help each other? Because when it's somebody else gets business, that's good for all of us.
It is. It is. And we just had the episode with David Kleiman on volunteerism. And that's pretty much what most of us have been doing this past year, is just offering our services for free, doing
a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said from the beginning of the episode here, we're all in the same boat. We're all, ground zero, no expectations, just, we got to do what we got to do to stay afloat and support one another throughout this. And this is one of the reasons of having you and the other leaders here today, to find that out and to get in touch and see what is going on. But I'm like you. I'm very hopeful for the next 12 months. I cannot wait. It's overdue. But again, we want to make sure that it was a learning lesson. So reflecting back this past year, what did this pandemic validate for you?
I think I'll go back to what I said before. Family, health, health, obviously for everybody, because without health, we don't have anything. And you can't buy that. That's one thing you cannot buy. And that balance, and just being honest with people, and those relationships that either you didn't have, or to solidify them. And you know what? Catching up with friends we haven't spoken to in 20 years, college or high school or family and things. And just, getting outside and being with your kids or husband or wife or whatever, and just, reconnecting. That's been for me, that's been the silver line, if you want to put it on everything for me. Unfortunately, I didn't have as much of it as I wanted to, because I was trying to, maintain business, because as a business owner, I couldn't just sit back and go, no, nothing. I had to continuously stay engaged. So trying to find that balance. But what I learned and what I've always held is family is first, and health, and then everything else comes off that.
Yeah, and most of the leaders all day long have been saying the same thing. It's totally has given us a different light, a new way of looking at things. And I think everybody's going to pretty much stick to their guns. Family first.
I hope so. I mean, I know we're all going to have to get traveling, we want to, but like I said, that urgency to get proposals out and all that. Okay, guys, level with me. I'll get it to you. Just give me a little time. But I've got to put my priorities in order, because they were in the wrong order before, especially when we started before, about the money. It'll come. Balance.
So true. Great advice. That was a golden nugget right there. Well, I certainly can't believe this half hour has already flown by, and I so appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I still want people to connect with you. So I'm going to go ahead and put your email and your website up there. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know more about American Guest, since we only had a few minutes to describe it. But is there any other way that you would like people to connect with you, or is this
phone call?
Oh,
honestly, I love to talk on the phone. It's you connect and you find so much more about people that way. Email is fine, but call, as it was the old AT&T commercials, or just pick up the phone and dial. We'll answer. I love talking to people and hearing stories, and that's the best way for me. I mean, email is fine, but pick up the phone.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of that song, Call Me Maybe.
Yes, exactly.
Now I'll hear that and I'll think, John Williams, Williams.
Yes.
So, okay, so they can go to your website or email you to get your number. But right now, say it really slow. What's your phone number?
212-302-4019. 212-302-4019. And our first call.
Sound like an operator. Yeah.
Yes.
And the first caller calling in, you win a prize.
That was on the phone. So that, and then our Instagram, you can follow us there, American Guest, and Twitter, and all those other lovely social media handles.
Wonderful. That is great. Well, thank you again. This was a whirlwind of great information. Totally appreciate your time and being a big fan of the show. I know you've been wanting to get on here for some time.
6 months. So took us 6 months to get here. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and continued good success for you and the program. And we'll see you around.
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully in person too.
Yes,
so thank you again, John.
Hugs.
Happy
Hugs.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye. Well, there you have it. We definitely enjoyed a great conversation. Was that fantastic or what? totally enjoyed with the president and co-founder of American Guest USA, John Williams. And if you'd like to see the replay, or if you would like to share the episode with others, by all means do so. Just go to our Facebook or our YouTube channel, and it'll be right there right now. And if you have any feedback or comments to this episode or the entire day here at GMID, we want to hear them. Just go to our email, hello@hospitalitytodaylive, or call me as well. And so now, next up, we are going to, and I'm going to say this really, really loud, last but not least, today, we are finishing out, we are closing out, and I have the honor to have the president of Teneo Hospitality Group, a great leader in the industry, Daryl Tomasumas. He is from the greater Minneapolis area, and Daryl is going to not only share us the insights of his global sales organization that represents the finest lifestyles and luxury hotels in the world, but he's also going to share what they did when the pandemic hit and what Teneo is doing differently for clients today worldwide, along with what is Teneo doing to celebrate GMID 21. Well, you're going to be able to find out, and all you have to do is take a mini break to come back in about 15 minutes, and we'll be here to do just that, to close out GMID 21.